Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. So I'm just gonna give y'all a few minutes, see if anybody else comes in here, and then we'll get started in just a minute. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom to those of y'all who are observing the Sabbath today. Shows there's 7 people in here so far, so I'm just gonna give it another minute or two, and then we'll get started. Salakia. I was having mic problems. So I'm gonna start over. We're gonna start in the book of Revelation. In the book of Revelation, right? We're gonna start on verse 10. It says, "And he saith unto me," this is an angel that was giving John a vision, right? It says, "And he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand," right? So if we jump up here, it says, "And I, John, saw these things and heard them. And when I had heard and seen, I fell down to worship before the feet of the angel, which showed me these things." So an angel was giving John a vision from the Most High, right? And John immediately he fell down to his knees. And then saith he unto me, so then the angel said to John, "See thou do it not, for I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren the prophets," right? So he said, don't kneel down to me, don't bow down to me. I am just a fellow servant like you, right? "And of them which keep the sayings of the book, worship the Most High," right? So now that you have the context, let me read it one more time. It says, "And he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand," right? So it says, "Seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand." So what do y'all think "seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book" means, right? So the time that is at hand, if we read, I'm gonna jump over to Daniel 12 real quick, and then we'll come back to see what this means, right? This is one thing you always have to do. The Old Testament and the New Testament really go hand in hand. And some people like to separate them and say, no, I follow the Old Testament. No, I only follow the New Testament. But if you read it precept upon precept, you will realize that they actually go hand in hand to give a better understanding, a more full understanding, right? So this is Daniel 12:4. It says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book," right? So now Daniel's having a vision too, and it says, "Seal the book, even to the time of the end." So now this doesn't say till the end of time, right? This doesn't say till Yahushua comes back. This says the time of the end. That's a time period, right? It's not talking about the very end, or it would say till the end of time, right? So it says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book," just like it says seal in Revelation 22, "even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." So this is a sign of the end times, right? When knowledge is increased, and which we are living in the most technologically advanced time period ever, right? Our knowledge is increased. Technology, what is the root words of technology? Tech and knowledge, right? Knowledge is definitely increased. I think we can all agree that we are living in the time of the end, right? But notice it says, "O Daniel, shut up the words, seal the book to the time of the end," right? So now we're going to jump down to verse 8. It says, "And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things?" So Daniel's asking, right? What are going to be the signs of the ends of the end times? And he said, "Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end," right? So it's saying these words are sealed up, they're closed up and sealed, which we're going to get into the meaning of sealed in just a minute, till the time of the end, which, like I said, we are living in the end times right now, right? So now I'm going to go back to Revelation 22 to see what this means. So I'm going to read verse 10 one more time. "And he saith unto me," the angel unto John, "seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand." What time? Like we just read in Daniel, the time period that they're talking about is the end times. So now, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book. What do y'all think that means? Right? Well, what do y'all think seal not means? Anybody? I got the comments up right here. Anybody have an idea as to what that means? We're going to look it up in the Greek. So it says, and he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book. So now for those of y'all who don't know, this is the Blue Letter Bible, right? This gives you in the Strongs the Greek or the Hebrew word. If it's the Old Testament, it's going to give you Hebrew, and the New Testament, it's going to give you the Greek, because this is what it was translated from, right? So it says, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book. So seal, let's look what seal means. All right. Seal. So if you think about it, kings back in the days, how would they seal their letters? They would put some candle wax on the letters, right? Say it was a king, whether it be King David, King Solomon, King Joaquin, whoever, whichever king it was. They didn't have text messages, obviously, Gmail and all this. So they would seal it by putting wax, and then on their ring, they would have an imprint, right? That seal would keep it safe, right? It would keep it safe from to see if anybody had opened it, right? So this is the Hebrew word or the Greek word salakia for seal, right? To set a seal upon, mark with a seal to seal. So this isn't what it's talking about in this particular verse. This will be the usage for when it said, for example, he sealed the 144,000 upon their head, right? So this is what we're looking at for security, right? Seal not the book. The book is not going to be sealed no more for security. From who? From Satan, right? So the book is not going to be sealed up from Satan any longer. Does anybody have an example of how the book is not sealed anymore? Anybody? I'll give y'all one quick example, right? Everybody probably knows this. All the different versions of the Bible, right? This is the easiest example I could think of. All the newer versions of the Bible. So this, for example, is the NIV, New International Version, I believe is what it's called, right? So the new ones are not tech versions. Most people who have been in can Greek and Hebrew KJV, right? The KJV, which I have a few right here. So let me make my screen bigger. So this King James Version, right? Holy Bible with concordance, which this one was published in 1945, I believe. Yes, 1945. I don't know if y'all can, let me see this side. It's pretty blurry, right? And I got a few older ones. This one was from the 1800s. Then there's this one, right? Which most brothers that I know use this, right? The 1611 King James Version Bible. It's the closest to the Hebrew and Greek texts, right? If you're using something like this, the NIV, you're going to have a lot of verses that are removed. These are just a few examples, right? But there's far more removed. And from all the other versions, right? So that's one example of the way that the book is not sealed anymore, right? But another example is actually what most people don't know or not aware of. And to be honest, it's partially from lack of studying. Salakia, 1 second. So partially from lack of studying, right? It also because, like we read right here, 22 and 10, he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book. It is a prophecy that this book is not going to be sealed anymore. In other words, right? Seal not Satan. It's not sealed from Satan anymore, right? And when I say the KJV also isn't sealed anymore, I'm gonna give y'all some examples, right? So for security from Satan, no longer sealed, right? So I'm just gonna give you a couple of examples. Let's go to Luke 17. So Bean Thomas said synagogue of Satan. So yeah, synagogue of Satan, Revelation 2:9 and 3:9. The fake Jews that say they are Jews but are not. That's the synagogue of Satan, Khan. But remember that Satan can use many different agents to do this, right? So it's not just the synagogue of Satan. So now let's go to Luke chapter 17. All right, and I'm going to give y'all a couple examples of how the KJV itself is not sealed in certain ways, right? Now, of course, the Most High is going to keep his word true. The principles of the word, he has the power, of course, over everything to keep things sealed that need to be sealed, right? I'm going to give y'all this example real quick on how it's not sealed, right? So even, so like it, let's start right here on 31. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back, right? Remember Lot's wife. So this is talking about when Yahushua comes back, all right? This is talking about when Yahushua is making his return. So it says, whoever shall seek his life to save his life shall lose it. And whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. Meaning, whosoever shall seek to save his spiritual life, his soul, is going to lose his physical temporary life here in this kingdom, right? When you see things going down and you got to just go, you're going to go. You're going to forget all, you're going to leave this life behind. So you're going to lose this life so that you can preserve your soul, your eternal life, right? So now let's go to the next verse. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken and the other shall be left. Now, what does that mean? Right? Now, I've seen some people use this. Some people in the LGBT community use this, and they say, you see, one man, there are going to be two men in the bed. That's two gay men. One's going to be taken, one's going to be saved, and the other's going to be left, right? Let's keep going. Two women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken and the other left, right? Is that correct? Is that supposed to say that? Anybody? No, it's not supposed to say that, right? Two men shall be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left, right? But look at this, man. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken and the other left. So now this is saying, this is contradicting 1 Corinthians 6 and 9 through 11, which says homosexuals won't make it to the kingdom. Leviticus 20 and 13, which says that homosexuals, their blood shall be upon them. They shall surely be put to death, right? This completely contradicts the other parts of the Bible, right? So why is this in here then? Why are these here? Because like we read, the book is not sealed. For one reason or another, Satan has changed this right here from this. Now I'm going to go to Matthew 24 to see what it's actually supposed to say, right? Because there's always multiple, not always, but a lot of times there's multiple accounts in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, right? Where they say the same thing, they just say it a little bit differently because it's different accounts, right? So we're going to start on, I believe it's 37, but of that 36, Salakia, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So this is Yahushua talking about the end, right? So let's jump down to 40. It says, then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill. Y'all see that difference right there? Two women shall be grinding at the mill. The one shall be taken and the other left, right? So this says two in the field, one shall be taken. And this says grinding at the mill. That's a big difference, right? That's only what? They took off these three words at the mill and replaced it with shall be grinding together. And this is saying the same thing. One's going to be taken and the other is going to be left, right? One's going to make it and one is not going to make it. So then why in Luke 17 does it say two women shall be grinding together? So like my page keeps reloading, right? Two men, so like two women shall be grinding together. One shall be taken and the other left, right? In that night there shall be two men in one bed. Why would two men be in one bed? Right? Men don't sleep in the same bed with each other. And why would one be saved and the other be left? Right? Can anybody give me an answer to that? I don't think so, right? There's no other way to explain this right here. So now I'm gonna go to, let's look at another one real quick. So have any of y'all, let me see the comments real quick. Have any of y'all ever heard of the Lion and the Lamb? Is anybody familiar with the Lion and the Lamb? Let me get the verse real quick. The Lion and the Lamb? No, nobody? There's many songs about the Lion and the Lamb, right? Kinda. Bean Thomas said kind of heard of the Lion and the Lamb. Anybody else? Pancake and Syrup, yes. So yes, Khan. Now it says the wolf, right? Now it says the wolf. So you're familiar with this. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, right? If you go to Bible Hub where it shows all of the different translations, it says the exact same thing. It says the wolf and the lamb, right? Now there's many songs about the lion and the lamb. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. This is what it says now, right? It says the wolf and the lamb. Why does it say the wolf and the lamb? Has it always said the wolf and the lamb, or has something changed? Right? So somebody, I'm gonna post this comment up real quick. It says the men in Luke, this is tribe of Simeon, PB718. The men in Luke 17:34 is italicized, meaning it's an insert. So, well, what kind of Bible do you have, Ak, if you don't mind me asking? Tribe of Simeon. What kind of Bible do you have? Because I have the oldest Bible, like I said, that I have here is from 1879, right? And if I go to Luke 17, I don't know if it's clear enough for y'all to be able to see it. Let me see real quick. So this is Luke 17:34. It's right here. I don't know if that's clear enough for y'all to see. Might need to screenshot it but all the Bibles that I have, so you use the KJV. Comparative translations is key, King. So I agree with you on that. A lot of people will say the translation, they just translated it incorrectly, right? They translated it incorrectly. So I came to that same conclusion at the beginning, right? I'm gonna put this comment up real quick. It said it is not implying homosexuality. Comparative translations is key, King. So what does it mean then when it says two men were lying in the bed together, right? That would be my question to you or to other people. But I'm not saying to take my word for it yet, right? Let's just go over a couple more examples just so you can see what I'm talking about, right? So this is Isaiah 65. So we just saw in Isaiah, what was it, 11:6, I believe, how it says the wolf and the lamb. Now this is Isaiah 65:25. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock. right? So again, it says the wolf and the lamb, right? So if you look into it yourself, you Google it and say and look for yourself, right? That all the translations say wolf and the lamb. There's nowhere in the Bible that you can find the lion and the lamb, the term the lion and the lamb. And there's been many songs made about the lion and the lamb, right? I believe, I can't remember the name of a Christian group, but me and my rib, when we were in a Christian church, they would always play the song, The Lion and the Lamb, right? In the church, the lion and the lamb, the lion and the lamb. Elvis made a song about the lion and the lamb. There's many famous people, and they were all quoting the Bible. But the thing is, now lion and the lamb cannot be found, right? This is what it says in the two references where it shows, or it showed, people remember it showing the lion and the lamb, right? So, I mean, if you think about it, the lion and the lamb, anytime that they use the lion and the lamb, it's, you know what it's talking about. But now it's replacing it with the wolf and the lamb. When they use the term wolf in other verses, it's always a negative context, right? Or a negative connotation, I guess you could say, right? So let me give you an example real quick. This is Matthew 7 and 15. Beware of prophets which come to you inwardly, they are ravening wolves, right? So why are they now saying the wolf and the lamb instead of the lion and the lamb, right? In Sirach, what is it, 13 and 17, right? It says, what fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly, right? It's always a negative connotation. It's always a negative context. So another one, I'm gonna give y'all real quick. And this is one that, again, people will say, and I'm not saying that I disagree, but people will say, okay, it's a mistranslation, obviously, right? So let's read this real quick. It's Acts 12 and 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people, right? So now if we look at it, like one of the brothers said, we have to look into the context of it, or the language, right? We have to look into the Greek or into the Hebrew, right? So it says Easter, Pascha. What does that mean? That means Passover, right? That means Passover. So many people will say, of course, that this is the Paschal Supper, the Paschal Feast, the Feast of Passover, right? So obviously it's supposed to say Passover, right? There's no argument about that. It's not supposed to say Easter, right? But the thing is, when did they change this to say Easter, right? Intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. There's no way back in the day when they wrote this that it was talking about Easter, because Easter, right? Something they celebrated, they supposedly celebrate in order to commemorate Christ's death and then coming back, right? That's what they say Easter's about. But if we go into, let me go to Bible Hub real quick. Let's go to Bible Hub. If y'all aren't familiar with this, this has all the different translations that are out there or that are in use today, right? So this is Bible Hub, and we're going to go to Acts 12 and 4 real quick, just so I could show you that the King James Version, which we all know as the most accurate translation, right? The most accurate translation is the one that Satan is really getting on the most, right? So check this out. This is the NIV. Herod intended to bring him out for public trial after the Passover. The NLT to for public trial after the Passover. English Standard Version, after the Passover. Orion Study Bible, the Passover. King James, after Easter, right? New King James Version, check this out. The New King James Version, before the people, after Passover. Right here, Passover, Passover, Passover. So why is the King James Version, which is supposed to be the most accurate, which I'm not saying it's not the most accurate, right? That's not what I'm saying. I still believe that it is the most accurate, but why is the King James Version the only one out of all these versions that they changed to Easter? Was it just an accident? Was it just an accident, or was it because it's pursuant to the prophecy that is in Revelation 22 that says, seal not the book, right? And we read in the Greek, it says, seal not from who? From Satan, right? So that's just another example. So now you could say, yeah, it was mistranslated, but by what power was it mistranslated? Obviously by the power of Satan, right? Now let me go back to the blue letter. Let me give you another example. Because there's many, in order for me to go over all the I found, it would literally take hours and hours. So I'm just gonna go over the ones that I found most troubling to me, at least, right? So let me see. Let me go over, man, there's a bunch of them. You know what? Let me go over this one with y'all real quick. So Revelation 1, right? Everybody uses Revelation 1 for what? To prove Yahushai, right? To prove the way that Yahushai looks, right? But what they don't notice, so check this out. This is Revelation 1:1. The revelation of Hamashiach Yahushai, which the Most High gave unto him, right? What is revelation? Revealing. So this is going to reveal how he looks, right? Almost everybody that's been in the truth for any period of time has gone over this, right? So verse 12, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with the garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with the golden girdle, right? His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire. Now, if we go into this, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with the garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps. All right. So if we go to the Greek word for paps, now my wife was actually one of the ones that pointed this out to me, right? Paps in Greek, mastos, right? Mastos, it says, so the breasts of a man, the breasts of a woman. If you look at the Strong's, right, mastos, a properly female breast, as if kneaded up a pap, right? So some people say, again, this could be a mistranslation, right? Of course, the breast of a man says right here. But if you look into all the times that paps is used in the Bible, right? Or in the Greek, there's only 3 times, right, that the word paps is used. Okay? Only 3 times. So one of them is right here, Luke 11:27. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, blessed is the womb that bare thee, and the paps which thou hast sucked. So blessed is the womb that bare you. They were talking about Mary. They're talking to Yahushua, right? And the paps, or the breasts, which thou sucked. Then Luke 23:29, which says, blessed are the barren and the wombs that never bear, and the paps which never gave suck, right? So blessed are the barren, the women that could not have babies, right? That's what it's talking about. So now paps, even when you get into the etymology of the word, right? What is paps? Like it's gonna have to be pap because paps is plural. So pap. Let's look up what this means. So noun number one, soft food for infants, gruel, porridge. That's not what we're looking for. Two, nipple of a woman's breast, right? Three, father, man, like that's my pap, right? So why does it say nipple of a woman's breast? Even in what I was going to mention earlier is my wife was in the FFA, which is a farm, what is it, Future Farmers of America, right? Paps are a woman's breast or a female breast when it comes to animals as well, right? So when they say paps in the English, it literally means a female's breast. So now they're talking about Yahushua here, right? Why would they put that? It seems to me that there's a lot of LGBT type of mistranslations, especially in the KJV, right? So I'm gonna give y'all another one. This is Numbers chapter 11. Numbers chapter 11, right? And we're gonna start on verse 10. So the complaint of Moses, this is Moses, right? Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent, and that of Yahweh was kindled greatly. Moses also was displeased. And Moses said unto Yahweh, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me? Because all the people were mad, right? Have I conceived all this people? Right? Have I conceived all this people? Did I have all these people to be in charge of them? Are they my children? Have I begotten them that thou shouldst say unto me, carry them in thy bosom as a nursing father beareth the sucking child? So now, I don't know about y'all, but a nursing father beareth the sucking child, right? Does that sound right to y'all? Does that sound? It's all changed for a reason. It's all worded. Of course, it's mistranslated, right? But the point that I'm getting at is, like it says in Revelation 22 and Daniel chapter 12, it is not sealed because of Satan, right? And even in the KJV, which is why it's so important. Like a few I think a few of the brothers were saying, you have to go into the original Greek and the Hebrew and see all the translations in order to get um a real translation or a real understanding of what it's saying, because this is not correct right here. As a nursing father bears the sucking child. Can a father have a child? No, right? Well, maybe nowadays, now that they got those what are they called, womb implants, right? But a father is not supposed to have a sucking child and bear a sucking child, right? So I'm gonna give you another example. This is Job chapter 21. And like I said, there's so many examples that you would have to look into to see, because at first I was like, okay, that's just a mistranslation right there, right? Maybe one like a brother was telling me, you have to understand when they translated it, there was different scholars and they all went off of a glossary or an index, and they had these certain words, and this one could have translated it to this one could have translated to this one could have so obviously there's going to be mistranslations. But the thing is, there is purposely mistranslated things as well, right? So this is Job 21 starting on 22. Shall any teach God knowledge, seeing he judgeth those that are high? One dieth in his full strength, being holy and at ease and quiet. His breasts are full of milk, and his bones are moistened with marrow. His breasts are full of milk, right? Is it supposed to say that? It's not supposed to say that, right? His breasts are full of milk. No, a man's breasts are not supposed to be full of milk. And that goes with the Numbers chapter 11 as well, right? Numbers chapter 11. Have I conceived? So let me go down to it. Where is it? Have I conceived all this people, that thou shouldest say unto me, carry them bosom as a nursing father beareth the sucking child, right? It's not supposed to say that, man. The father, his breasts are full of milk. That's not correct. That not only is that a mistranslation, but there's no way that somebody could have accidentally translated this without noticing his breasts are full of milk, right? Even somebody who's new to this truth would not be able to say, oh yeah, this is a correct translation right here. His breasts are full of milk. Yep, that sounds right. A man is not supposed to breastfeed a child. A man is not supposed to have his breasts full of milk, right? So let me give you all a few. I'm gonna have to skip a few examples, or we would be here for hours and hours. I know it's already late. I know some of y'all brothers are on the East Coast, so it's already real late over there. But let me go to Luke chapter 3, okay? Because some of these, some of these are bigger things like that, right? Like paps, like Yahushai had paps. Yahushai did not have women's breasts, right? That's trying to make him seem like an androgynous figure. That's trying to make him seem like what's his name, Baphomet, how he's a female up here and then a male down below, right? And that's what I really feel like Satan, what's the biggest agenda that Satan is pushing on people right now at this time? It's the LGBT agenda, right? So it makes sense that he's also trying to push it in the King James Version Bible, which we know, or most people know as the most accurate Bible, right? So this Luke 3:16, John answered, saying unto them all, I indeed baptize you with water, but one mightier than I cometh, the latchet of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire. So now, can anybody see what's wrong with this verse? Can anybody see what's wrong with this verse? It's talking about Yahushai, right? John is talking about Yahushai, one mightier than I cometh. Yeah, Yahushai is going to come, right? The latchet of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose, right? The latchet of whose shoes? So you're telling me that Yahushai had some Air Jordans or some Nikes or some Reeboks or something like that? No, right? Of course not. We've all, or maybe most of us have seen that. What was that movie called? Where Mel Gibson, I think Mel Gibson directed it, right? And what Yahushua had sandals, right? Everybody knows back in those days they didn't have no shoes on, man. That's a simple thing to look into. And I'm not gonna go to the Greek on all of them, because if you go to the Greek, it's gonna show you. I want y'all to study this for yourself. This is just to bring something to the light, to show you that there are things in the Bible, even in the King James, right, that have been mistranslated, and some people are gonna say on accident. But like I showed you, there's no way that some of these were accidental. This was Satan coming and changing it, right? So this is Psalm 6:6. I am weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim. So this is him explaining that he's crying, right? He makes his bed to swim. He's crying so much in his bed. It's a metaphor, right? I water my couch with my tears. I water my couch with my tears, right? So couch, you think they had couches back then? You think they called them couches back then, right? So let me give y'all one more on this same topic about couches, right? Because I kind of found this one funny too. If any of y'all have seen the movie, okay, one second. All right, so if any of y'all have seen the movie or any movies that depict the stories of Christ, right? That depict um the Hawashai, it will show you that it'll show you this story right here, right? So this is Luke 5:19. And when they could not find, or I'm gonna start on 18 actually. And behold, men brought in a bed a man which was taken with palsy, and they sought means to bring him in and to lay him before him. So everybody's seen this account. If you've seen any of the movies that depict Yahushua or Christ, where there's a man who has palsy, who can't walk or nothing, and they bring him in, right? They bring him in on a bed. It looks like a mattress in the movies and stuff. And when they could not find Salakia, and when they could not find by what way they might bring him in because of the multitude, they went upon the housetop and let him down through the tiling with his couch into the midst before Yahushai. So if you see here, how can you mistranslate it from one verse to the next? It says they brought him in a bed, right? Then the next verse, it says they couldn't find a way to get to Yahushai because there was so many people around him, right? So they went upon the housetop. They went up on the top, like I said, you can see in the movies or the depictions of it, and they let him down through the tiling with his couch into the midst before Yahushai, right? So with his couch, they let him down with his couch. So now let's read verse 24. So then he heals him, right? Or 23. Whether it is easier to say thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say rise up and walk. But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power upon the earth to forgive sins, he said unto the sick of the palsy, I say unto thee, arise and take up thy couch and go into thine house. So now Yahushua says, you're forgiven of your sins and you're healed, right? You can walk now. So pick up your couch and go into your house. Does that even make sense? That doesn't make any sense, right? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So another mistranslation. Let's go to Genesis. So this was thousands of years ago, right? You have to keep this in mind. This was thousands of years ago. Genesis chapter 21. And that last example with the couch, there's actually many mistranslations where they translated it to couch, right? So this is Genesis 21:14. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. So now it's saying that Abraham woke up early in the morning. Hagar and the child were going to go on a journey. So he got a bottle of water, right? Dasani or Aquafina or something, and gave it to Hagar, right? To go on the trip. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs, right? So I'm going to jump to 19. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad to drink, right? So what is this actually supposed to say? Does anybody know what they replaced with bottle? Anybody? I'm gonna give y'all an example, right? Now that's in the Old Testament. There's many in the Old Testament that say this, right? But now let's go to the New Testament. Matthew chapter 9. This is obviously not supposed to say bottle. There wasn't bottles thousands of years ago, back in the days of Abraham, right? That's an obvious thing to anybody who knows anything about history. So this is Matthew 9:15, or Salakia. Let's go. No man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment, for that which is put in to fill it up taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. So now I'm sure at least a few of you know that this isn't supposed to say bottles, but what is it actually supposed to say? Does anybody know what this is supposed to say? Because that don't even make sense. If you put new wine in old bottles, the bottles are gonna break, right? This is actually supposed to say wineskins, right? I don't know if y'all are familiar with wineskins, right? A wineskin is what they used to use to hold water and to hold any type of liquid, right? So there's many other verses if y'all want to look into them. Let's just get one or two more real quick. One or two more, and I'll go ahead and post up all the verses that I've seen on my Instagram later, just for time's sake, right? Because I know what we've been on here almost an hour already. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna show y'all something else real quick. All right, now some of y'all NOT study have them listed. Salakia. So just looking through the comments real quick. So Bean Thomas, have them listed. Yes, I'm gonna have them listed on the on my Instagram, right? So now let me see. There's only 9 people left in here right now. So please answer in the comments as I show these real quick. All right. Now a few people, a few friends of mine have asked me about these things right here. So I'm gonna go into them. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with the Mandela effect. Have y'all ever heard of the Mandela effect? Anybody? I'm gonna give you a few examples of the Mandela effect, right? It's just something that they for something, right? So it says Nelson Mandela's death. Let's start with the reason we're here. Nelson Mandela, who this theory is named after, died in 2013. However, countless people distinctly remember him dying in prison in the 1980s, but his death isn't the only example of a Mandela effect, right? We have been wrong about so many dates, details, and more. Keep going for more commonly misremembered moments in history. Okay, so now y'all, any of you, at least one of you, just so I don't think I'm crazy, over these real quick. Y'all tell me how you remember. Do y'all remember this Jiffy peanut butter? Does anybody remember this on the left side? I know this is what most people get nowadays, right? But you have to make sure you check if it has mono and diglycerides. A lot of the mono and diglycerides in peanut butter comes from pork, right? So a couple of y'all are saying, yeah, right? I remember Jiffy peanut butter. My rib remembers Jiffy peanut butter, right? So it says, Salakia, my computer is going real slow right now for some reason. So a lot of people, a few of y'all are saying, yeah. I think one sister, Lakeisha, said no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of y'all said yeah, right? So it says Jif, not Jiffy. People swear there was a Jiffy peanut butter back in the day, but we speculate they're combining Jif with its competitor Skippy. Okay, maybe, right? Let's go on to the next one. Looney Tunes. Who remembers this on the left? Do y'all remember left or right? Left or right? I remember it tunes, as in cartoons, right? If you think about this, this is tunes. This is like on the right-hand side. This is like tunes, as in you're listening to a tune. On the left, it's cartoons, right? Do y'all remember the left or the right? I personally remember the left one. So does my rib. So does a lot of people that I've shown this to before, right? So it says Looney Tunes, not tunes. It makes almost 0 sense, but yes, the cartoon was spelled as tunes. And if you look, you can look up all of these on Google yourself if you don't believe it, because I know I had to. I didn't believe some of these as well, right? Let's keep going. Anybody ever seen these books before? Berenstain Bears? I don't know how old y'all are, but I was born in the early 90s. So I remember reading the Berenstain Bears in school. The left. So some of y'all are saying one, some of y'all are saying the other. I remember clearly Berenstain Bears. Y'all remember the E or the A? E or A. So this is pronounced Berenstain. The one on the right is pronounced Berenstain. Right? I've never seen this in my life before. Berenstain. The Berenstain Bears didn't exist. The cartoon Bear family actually spelled their last name with the A. The Berenstain Bears. All right, maybe I'm going crazy, right? Maybe a few of us are going crazy. What about this one? Curious George. Y'all remember him with the tail or with tail? Without the tail. I did this many years ago, and I clearly remember there being the tail, right? So yeah, some of y'all are saying that you're young, you don't know about it, right? But I clearly remember the tail. A lot of I've talked to remember the tail. So Curious George's tail was never there. Are you freaking out? Okay, moving on. Let's move on. Let's keep going. Some of y'all, if you're young, you probably don't remember this show, Sex in the City, right? So is it Sex in or is it Sex and the City? My sister used to watch this show, right? My sister used to watch this show. And it was always it was Sex in the City, because these Edomite chicks were having sex in the city. They were fornicating, trying to show people how to fornicate in the city, right? So Sex and the City. While these 4 women were having sex in the city, the show was actually entitled Sex and the City. Okay, maybe we're crazy, right? This one everyone should be able to answer. Is it Febreze or is it Febreze? Right? Febreze or 2 E's or 1 E? 2 E's or 1 E? So Ivan Salazar, I'll post your comment up real quick. The same effect. I think you meant to say with the Bible, right? Yeah, with the Bible. Yeah, you corrected it. So yeah, the same effect with the Bible, right? So now I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying. I'm gonna say he who has ears let him hear, and he who has eyes let him see, right? Who remembers this? Or who thinks it's Febreze? Febreze, you might use this stuff every day, but to be honest, you thought it was Febreze, didn't you? This right here on the right is actually how they say it's spelled. If I put Febreze with 2 E's in Google right now, check it out real quick. What's it gonna say? Did you mean for Febreze? Look at the symbol. It was never spelled 2 E's. Are you serious? Did you like Febreze? Febreze.com. It says Febreze with 2 E's, right? Febreze.com. But then look what it says here. When you go to the website, it actually says Febreze with 1 E. How is that possible? Right? How is it's always been this, according to the internet, according to anything that you try and look up. So I don't know about y'all. When I hit the Febreze one, I was like, it's Febreze. Look, somebody, nah, bro, it's Febreze, right? Bean Thomas. So apparently it is not Febreze. We're crazy, right? Let's go on to the next one. Oscar Mayer Wiener, right? Oscar Mayer Wiener. Now we're all Israelites, so at one point in time, Oscar Mayer Wiener might have been the only thing we had with some white bread, and if we were lucky, maybe with some ketchup, right? So is it spelled with an E, spelled with an A? Is it Oscar Mayer Wiener or is it Oscar May? What do y'all think? I remembered Oscar Mayer Wiener because when I was young, back again in year 2000, I remember there was a commercial and it would say Oscar Mayer Wiener is the wiener for you and me and my sister would be singing that, right, as little kids. But guess what? Oscar Mayer Wiener, one of the most confounding of all. There's an A in Meyer. Honest to goodness, we thought it was Meyer. So okay, maybe I've just remembered all these things incorrectly, right? Now Skechers, the Skechers have a T. Is it CH? Now this one, to be honest, it didn't really surprise me because I've never worn Skechers in my life, right? I've never worn Skechers in my life, but it's actually without the T. Less sketchy than most people have been befuddled to see that there's no T in Skechers. Okay, there's no T. Most Israelites don't wear Skechers anyways, right? So that one's not too surprising. Let's go on to the next one. Fruit Loop. We've all eaten Fruit Loops, right? Is it spelled fruit or fruit with two O's? Fruit Loops. Kellogg had been spelling fruit like that for years, and we only know now. Wow. Been with two O's this whole time, apparently. Get a couple more, and then I'm going to go back to just a more scriptures, just so you can see how things to be, right? So Tribalian PB718, it says the classic one, the Matrix. Morpheus saying, what if I told you everything you knew was a lie? Exactly, right? When I first came across this, that's exactly how I was feeling. I thought everything I thought I knew was a lie, right? So Salakia, let's go to the next one. King Henry, I'm gonna skip that one. Okay, the Monopoly Man. The Monopoly Man. Is he supposed to have this little thing on his eye? Or did he never have it? Does anybody remember this on the left? What is it called? His monocle, right? Monopoly Man and his monocle, or more like the fact that he doesn't have one. This, as some suggest, might be a simple confusion between him and the Planters Peanut Company mascot, Mr. Peanut, because that mascot has one as well, right? But I clearly remember playing Monopoly as a child, right? And I remember him having this on. Okay, I clearly remember that. If you've seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and you've seen the movie, and there's a part in the movie where there's a dude called the Monopoly. I believe he calls him the Monopoly guy, right? And the Monopoly guy has the thing on his eye. Okay. Salakia, let me pull it up. Actually, I'm gonna share that real quick. I'm gonna share a couple videos real fast, real quick. Let me cut off this screen and share another screen. So I clearly remember him having the monocle on his eye, right? And some of y'all don't be thinking just because I'm doing this, I'm trying to throw up some type of Illuminati BS damn thing. I'm trying to show you that this monocle he had on, right? You're gonna see in just a second. Let me pull up this other tab real quick. I'm gonna share it. I don't know if y'all have seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, but that's what I'm gonna pull up real quick. On that movie, he goes to this. He like a rich party, and there's a man. Okay, there it says it's sharing the screen. Nobody's using the internet, but just bear with me. So yes, it has a monocle. It's like Back to the Future movie. The male is called Twin Pines male, and when he returns back from the past at the end, the Pine male. Okay, Khan, yeah, I think I do remember that as well, right? Bean Thomas, it has a. Okay, so this is. Let me refresh it real. See if it'll. Get a chance to look it up. Just look into the Ace Ventura Monopoly Man or Monopoly Guy, I think is what it's called. And they're literally making fun of the Monopoly Man, this man right here. And in the movie, he has the monocle on, right? So let's keep going. Pikachu. I don't know if y'all are old enough to remember the original Pikachu, right? But when I was in elementary, it was the original Pikachu. And did he have this on his tail? Y'all remember him having this on, or did he have nothing on his tail? Because I clearly remember this. In elementary, I was collecting these cards, and just like everybody else at that time, right? And his tail, man. Pikachu's tail. Though many of us clearly remember black detailing on a Pokemon character's tail, but in reality, it's just yellow. So they say it's been the whole time, right here. It was never like this. Let's go to Kit Kat. Does it have, y'all remember it like this with the hyphen, or you remember it without the hyphen? Because me personally, I clearly remember as a kid eating these all the time, and there's hyphen in it, right? So Bean Thomas said, no, bro, the cards have a black on his tail. So yeah, the older cards, right? I believe they do as well, right? What about this? Kit Kat hyphen. If you've just had an existential crisis about the fact that there's no hyphen in between Kit and Kat, know that you're not alone. So if you look into any of these examples on your own, I find that there's many people, thousands and thousands or millions of people that remember it a certain way, and then it comes out another way, right? Fruit of the Loom, did it have this cornucopia behind it, or has it always been like this, plain, right? Fruit of the Loom logo, it used to have a cornucopia behind the fruit, right? Right? So I remember getting Fruit of the Loom underwear all the time when I was a child, and I clearly remember this as well. But apparently, they're saying it's never had it. It's been plain like this for all time, right? For all time. So now, Cheez-Its. Y'all remember eating Cheez-Its as a kid? Was it called Cheez-Its, or was it called Cheez-It, right? Which one was it called? With the Z or without the Z? Says Cheez-It or Cheez-Its. We swear there used to be a Z at the end. What is happening? Right? I'm going to go through these a little quicker now. Double stuffed Oreos. Now, I don't eat these because years ago, somebody showed me that these Oreos they actually use aborted fetal tissue in them. So I suggest y'all look into that if you do eat these. Aborted fetal tissue inside of them, right? But for this, it says double stuffed Oreo. Is it called double stuffed Oreo, or is it with one F? Double stoof Oreo. What do y'all think? One F, two Fs? Double one F Oreos. If you are trying to tell us there isn't a second F in stuff, our lives have officially been a lie, right? So if you go to the Oreo website, if you go to your store, to Walmart or to whatever store you go to, it actually only has one F for whatever reason, right? Mona Lisa, I'm gonna skip over that one. All right, so now a friend of mine that is, for lack of a better term, a he was a nerd back in the day, right? He swears by this. Back in the 90s, when I was tiny, right? I was in elementary, I believe I was in first grade. He would always watch this movie, and I never liked Star Wars, but he would always watch this movie, right? And this was one of his favorite characters, C3PO, right? Now, this one on the left is how he and many other people remember this character CP3O. But apparently, if you go to the movie, the original Star Wars movie, he has a silver leg. I don't know if any of y'all are fans of Star Wars. I'm really not, right? But he swears that he never had a silver leg, right? There's another one pertaining to Star Wars, which we'll get to right now. So the Flintstones. Now the Flintstones, if y'all are real young, you might not remember this, but the Flintstones used to be real popular back in the. Now, was it Flintstones or was it Flint Stones? Now, to me, this right here with the TST, that doesn't even look right to me, right? Flintstones, that's how I remember it. I used to sing the song Flintstones, whatever, right? Flintstones. The Flintstones has two T's. We've been pronouncing it without that first one, so this is really awkward now. Flintstones. So they're saying that it's been Flintstones, apparently, for all time, right? Let's skip that one. So now this one, if any of y'all have seen this movie, right, with Forrest Gump, a lot of people quote this movie even if they haven't seen it, right? Life is like a box of chocolates, right? That is not what Forrest Gump, played by the amazing Tom Hanks, actually. If you listen closely, he says life was like a box of chocolates. We're regretting all Instagram captions right about now. So I clearly I've probably seen this movie at least 20, 30 times when I was younger because we had it and that was one of the only movies we had. But it said life is like a box of chocolates. Now they're trying to say that it said life was like a box of chocolates, which that really doesn't even make sense, right? So Snow White, again, if you're real young, you might not remember this, but when she said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, right? Any of y'all remember that? I don't know if you do, but it says that wasn't a line in Snow White either. The witch says magic mirror on the wall. Yup, our childhood has been ruined too. So now this one, Luke, I am your father, right? Has anybody ever heard that before? Luke, I am your father, right? Honestly, this was the one that cut deep. Perhaps the most famous movie line in history wasn't even said. All he really said was, I am your father, right? I am your father. Are you serious? This one I actually had to look up because, like I said, one of my best friends back in elementary he really liked this movie, right? And he would say this all the time. He would just bust out in school or something, right? Luke, I am your father. He would just bust it out at random moments and we would start cracking up. So for them to say, no, it never said, Luke, I am your father, right? That kind of that tripped me out, right? So let's watch the clip real quick. Some of y'all may not even be familiar with this because you're so young, but I know some of you are, so I'm just gonna play it if it'll play. Anybody else remember? Anybody else even seen this movie or even remember this line? Luke, I am your. I don't know if this is even gonna play. Let's see. Salaki, I don't know why this internet is going so slow. Verses, right? Let me get one more verse for y'all, right? So now if you just look up Mandela effect examples, right? That's what they call it, the Mandela effect. That's what they gave the name for when you remember something incorrectly. Okay, they call it the Mandela effect. So after this, or whenever you have time, just look up Mandela effect examples. Okay, this was one of the ones that tripped me out the most as well. So how many of y'all raised Catholic? Was anybody on here raised Catholic? I live in South Texas, so about 90% of the people that are here are so-called Hispanics, right? So almost everybody here is Catholic or grew up Catholic. So we grew up Catholic and we grew up reciting two things in the Catholic Church all the time, over and over and over. And that was the Our Father, what they call the Our Father, right? Which is the Lord's Prayer, the Adawan Palau, and the Hail Mary, which of course is not biblical and it's idolatry, right? But how I remember it is, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those, or give us this day our daily bread. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, and we forgive those who trespass against us, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. Amen. Right? That's how I remember it. And I remember it like that because we would have to say it repetitively over and over and over and over in the Catholic Church. You would have to go to a priest and confess your sins to him so that he could be the mediator between you and the Most High. And then he would say, okay, you know what? The Most High will forgive you if you say 10 Our Fathers and 50 Hail Marys, right? And then there you go as a little kid, not knowing anything about the Bible. You'd go and you say a couple Our Fathers or the Lord's Prayer, and then you say a whole bunch of Hail Marys, and then you think you're forgiven because that priest told you to, right? So pancakes and syrup and Ivan Salazar, yes. So do y'all remember it this way as well? It was, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So now let's read it here in the KJV, right? It says, after this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So I remember this saying, who art in heaven. Well, that's all right. Not that big of a change, right? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. So I clearly remember this saying, on earth as it is in heaven, because we don't live in the earth, right? That would be like some Greek mythology of Hades inside the earth or something like that, right? That will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Right? So now I do not remember this at all. The majority of people that I've talked to remember, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive our trespassers, right? And if you keep going down, when the prayer ends, it says amen, right? Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men your trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. So here it says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, right? But then 2 verses down, it seems to me like it's quoting uh it's quoting verse 12, right? If we forgive men our trespasses, then the Father will forgive us, right? But for some reason in the KJV, it says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And now the thing that's weird to me is that because some brothers say, okay, well, it's a mistranslation. The newer translations probably translated it to this, the newer King James versions, right? Because like I said, this Bible right here, one second, this Bible right here is a 1611 KJV, right? But it was published in 2011. So it's really only 10 years old. So if it says this right here, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Okay, maybe they did just when they printed this 10 years ago, maybe they changed it, right? But then I got another Bible here that's from the 70s, okay? Just a regular King James version from the 70s. And guess what? It also says, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. It also says all the other ones that we went through. Um, um, the man was breastfeeding and his breasts were full of milk, right? All the changes that we've seen. Okay. So then I said, okay, well, if it's from the 70s, maybe they changed it back then too, right? So then I got this Bible right here, which is older. It's from 1945, right? I don't know if y'all be able to see it because it gets blurry when I get it too close, but let's see. Copyright, I don't know if that's too blurry, but it says copyright 1945, right? So 1945, I looked through it, all the verses we're going over, and guess what? All of these things have been changed as well already, right? So then I go into this Bible right here, which I actually got for less than $15 online, was printed. Again, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that. It says 1879, right? It's printed in 1879, so almost 150 years ago. And all of these changes are already in it as well, right? Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. The lion and the lamb is not in the Bible, right? The two women grinding together is in all of these versions, right? So what could that be that is causing these things, right? How far back then did it go? It can't be just the newer translations then, right? It can't be. It can't just be, okay, well, it's a newer King James version because I went back 150 years and this is already saying these things, right? So this is 2 Thessalonians 2:9. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. When people are working for Satan, right, they get some of Satan's power and they get lying wonders. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, right? So Satan and his workers, they got power, man. That is why how did Satan tempt Yahushai in the wilderness? Anybody know what he told him? What did he tell Yahushai? Anybody know? Satan and his minions hard at work. Yeah, Khan, they are. Exactly. And I'm glad you could see that because some brothers I showed this to, and you know what? They basically said without saying it, they said, nah, that's a conspiracy, man. That's just a mistranslation, right? Pancakes and syrup. He said, I'll give you powers. So he actually said, offered him the London. I think you mean the kingdom, right? He offered him, he said, look at all this kingdom, right? I'll give it all to you. All you have to do is worship me, right? All you have to do is bow down and worship me, right? I will give you all the kingdoms, he said. Khan. There you go. I will give you all the kingdoms as long as you bow down and worship me, right? That's part of this right here. Whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. You have to understand that Satan has all this power, man, and he has lying wonders. This might be wondrous to you. Oh man, how was this changed? How do I remember this? But it actually is like this, right? That's that deceivableness of unrighteousness, right? But the thing is, he can only deceive who? Them that perish, right? Why? Because they receive not the love of the truth that they may be saved, right? So just the fact that we study to show ourselves approved, that's showing that you love this truth, right? Some people are just going to go with this. They're going to see all these changes and they're just going to run with it, right? They're not going to think to look more into it, right? But the point of this is, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. So we have to understand that Satan is the God of this world, right? Satan is the God of this world. If you tell a Christian this, most Christians will be like, oh man, that's blasphemy, right? This is 2 Corinthians 4:4, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, right? Who's that talking about? Who's that talking about? That's talking about Satan, right? That's easy to understand. So let's go back to Revelation real quick. Revelation 22. I'm probably going to finish with maybe two or three more verses. So Revelation 22:10, and he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. So for those of you, maybe you weren't here in the beginning, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, right? The Most High was telling him through his angel, right, who gave John the vision, seal not this book. Why? Because the time is at hand. And the time that he's talking about is the end times, right? Now let's look at seal one more time. Seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book. Who is it not sealed from no more? The book is not sealed for security from Satan anymore. So that's clean cut and easy to understand that Satan is the one that is making these changes. Now, yeah, it may be, okay, this translator or this, whatever. If you don't believe that this was Satan, like this was Satan, man, that's part of the prophecy. The prophecy says it's not sealed from Satan anymore. So now let's go back to, okay, it doesn't want to load this search bar. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 10 real quick. Or chapter 12, Salakia. Daniel chapter 12. So 12:4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end, right? We are in the end times right now where knowledge is increased. Many shall run to and fro and knowledge shall be increased. Many, Salakia, verse 8, and I heard, but I understood not. Y'all have to understand, not even Daniel could understand these things at that point in time, right? Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, go thy way, Daniel. So Daniel said, hey, what's up with the end times, right? That's what he said. And he said, go thy way, Daniel. The words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end, right? We actually had to be in the end times to understand that this was happening. We had to see this actually play out in order to understand that it is no longer sealed, right? Because we are now in the end. So now let's read verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand, right? So it's a blessing. It's a blessing in itself to just be able to understand anything in this Bible, right? That's a blessing from the Most High. So that's something we should all be giving thanks for, right? This is Matthew 13:16. But blessed are your eyes, Salakia, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Right? Y'all need to understand, we all need to understand that we are blessed because our eyes see. We are blessed because our ears hear. Not just physically, right? Or I can see everything I could hear, right? But spiritually, we can see the prophecies unfolding. We can see that Satan is working on this word right now. So some people are going to say, oh, well, the word's been changed, right? The word has been changed. So, Salakia. So the word has been changed. So we shouldn't even be following it no more, right? But the thing is, this is actually proving the word to be true, because it said that Satan was going to take, it wasn't going to be sealed to him no more. So now that we see that he's changing it, and that we have the eyes to see this, we are seeing the prophecies unfold. You need to understand that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see these things which we see, and they didn't get to see them, right? They wanted to hear these prophecies and see them happen, and they didn't get to, right? So it really is a beautiful time to be alive, and to see these things, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and post up more of the verses. There's many. I could still go over 20, 30 more, at least 20, 30 more verses, right? And examples of the so-called Mandela effect, right, for y'all. But I'm gonna go ahead and just post them up on my Instagram, maybe either later tonight or probably tomorrow. And yeah, because there's just too many, man. There's so many to go over. And if y'all find any other ones, like this is a challenge I would give y'all, right? If you find any other ones, send them to me, and I'm gonna add them to a list. And then maybe I'll just wait a day or two and then post up all the ones that I get, right? Because I'm still finding them as I'm reading through or as I'm researching the topic, right? But y'all go ahead and look into it for yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe anybody. I'm just here to present you information so that you can study for yourself, right? As a matter of fact, let's finish with that verse. I'm going to finish with this verse right here. 2 Timothy, the 2nd chapter, right? 2 Timothy 2:15. To show thyself, Salakia. Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High. Do you want to be approved by the Most High? Of course, right? We're all looking for that. A workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So we have to study the word in order to show ourselves approved to the Most High. Now, studying, Salakia, studying does not mean, okay, I got my Bible, I read a whole chapter today. You know what? Today I read 3 chapters. That's not studying. That's reading. The Bible is not meant to be read like a novel, like a chapter book, right? You don't just read through it and get understanding. You have to study. That means you look into the words, into the definitions, into the Greek, into the Hebrew, into what they mean. You look up precepts that match or go along or give a better understanding of that. That is studying, right? You have to study to show yourself approved to the Most High. A workman, and it's work to study. That's why most people don't study. That needeth not be ashamed. And you don't need to be ashamed of this word. And you also don't need to be ashamed when somebody asks you, oh, hey, Ak, do you know what I'm supposed to do about this? How do I keep the Sabbath? How do I this or that? And you got your fringes on, and you can't even explain or give them verses on how to keep the Sabbath, or you can't even recite the 10 commandments, right? So you have to study to show yourself approved so that you don't have to be ashamed no more. Rightly dividing the word of truth, right? So I encourage all of you to study for yourself, to show yourself approved. And actually, through the Spirit, this is going to be the last verse right here. I just sent this verse to like about 4 or 5 brothers today, right? So Joshua 1:8, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. This book of the Most High's laws, you're supposed to meditate in it day and night. That means maybe when you wake up in the morning, you study. When before you go to sleep, or before you turn on Netflix or get on Instagram for a few hours, right? In the night, you study, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein, right? So I have a lot of people that have been hitting me up in the last few weeks saying, look, I'm new to the truth. What do I do, right? And I send them Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, fear the Most High and keep his commandments. But how are you going to fear him and keep his commandments if you don't do this first? So I send them this verse with it. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. How are you going to observe and do everything that's written in the book if you aren't even studying the book for yourself, right? You're just going off of Instagram posts. Okay, this post said to do this, I'm gonna do that. This camp said I gotta do this, so that's what I'm gonna do. No, you need to meditate, which meditate means you think about one thing, you concentrate on one thing for a period of time. That's what you need to do with the word, right? And then look what's gonna happen. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. So everybody wants success, right? Everybody wants to prosper in life, whether it be physically, financially, mentally, emotionally, in their relationships, in their family, whatever it is, right? You want to be prosperous, you want to have good success. What do you got to do then? You have to meditate in the word day and night and observe to do all that is written therein, right? So with that, I'm gonna say shalom and Shabbat Shalom to those of you who are keeping the Sabbath today. I hope y'all have a peaceful Sabbath. Thanks for staying on the live for so long. I was going to make it, like I said, I have many more verses, but I'll go ahead and post them up so y'all can study and look into them for yourself. So Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Barakatah to all of y'all sincere brethren, and Shalom.